This is Lesson 1-1 Advanced, Rational Numbers as Decimals. In this lesson, we are going to work on converting between fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions with emphasis on repeated decimals. For this lesson, you are going to need use of the scientific calculator, the TI-30. If you do not have access to a calculator, there are some online that you may use. First thing is to be able to identify where the calculator keys are that you're going to need. On your scientific calculator, in order to convert between a fraction and decimal, you are going to be able to know where your shift key is, which is the second key, but also the PRB key. The second key is going to help you access the FD, or fraction to decimal function, that is in blue above the PRB key. You will also need to be able to use the fraction key. Your fraction key is the ABC key. You will press this between your whole number and numerator if there's a mixed number, but also between the numerator and the denominator in a fraction. For example, if you are trying to put in 4 1/2 into the calculator, you would press 4, then the ABC key, the 1, then the ABC key, and finally the 2. This is going to help you put 4 1/2 into your calculator. If you were just putting in the fraction 2/5, you would press the 2, then the ABC key, and then the 5. Here's some information to get down into your interactive notebook in regards to the scientific calculator. When writing a repeating decimal as a fraction, you're going to need to make sure that you type in the repeating block of numbers into the calculator until the decimal goes off the left side of the screen. Once you have your decimal in, you will press the second key, then the PRB key, and then enter. Your calculator will then give you the simplified fraction form of that decimal. We are going to begin on page 10 of the packet with question 4, and we're going to work on converting these decimals into fractions. A survey reported that 63.63% of moviegoers prefer action films. This percent represents a repeating decimal. We're going to write it as a fraction. When using your scientific calculator, you need to press 6-3 decimal. And now you need to put the repeated block 6-3 into the calculator until the decimal eliminates from the side of your screen. Once you've done this, press second, PRB, and then press enter. After you've done this, your calculator will give you 63 7/11. This is your answer. Take a look at your calculator. If you're looking at it, you may notice a little U after the 63. It may 6-3 and then a little U, 7/11. The U is signifying the space between your whole number and your fraction. Question 5. A student estimates that the weight of astronauts on the moon by multiplying their weight by the decimal 0.16 repeated. What fraction can be used for the same estimation? Using your calculator, 0.1, and now you're repeating 6 until your calculator eliminates the decimal on the left. Second, PRB, enter, and you will get the fraction 1/6. 0.16 repeated is equivalent to 1/6 as a fraction. Question 6. Write 2.318 with the 1/8 repeated as a mixed number. This is equivalent to 2 7/20. Number 7, write the number 0.21 repeated as a fraction. This will give you 7 33rds as a fraction. Question 8. Write 3.7 repeated as a mixed number. Placing this into your calculator, you will see 3 7/9. This would be a good time for you to practice with your calculator doing questions 9 through 19 and then coming back to this lesson and checking your work. Please skip questions 16 and 17 for the time being. Right now, I want us to focus on practicing the conversions with our calculators. The answer to question 9, when you do your work on your calculator, is 7/30. Question 10. Thomas asked 15 students whether summer break should be longer. He used his calculator to divide the number of students who said yes by the total number of students. His calculator showed the result 0.93 repeated. Part A asks us to write this number as a fraction. When you use your calculator and the second PRB key, you get the answer of the fraction 14/15. Part B, how many students said that summer break should be longer? Now we need to interpret our fraction. Thomas asked 15 students whether it should be longer, and he divided the yeses by the total number. Your 15 is the total number of students he asked. The 14, the numerator, are the yeses. So how many students said that summer break should be longer? 14 students. This is the next questions, 11, 12, 13, and 14. 0.8 repeated is 8/9. 0.87 repeated is 29/33. 1 and 48 repeated is 1 and 16/33. And 0.6 repeated is 2/3. Question 15. A manufacturer determines that the cost of making a computer is $2.16 repeated dollars. Write the cost as a fraction and as a mixed number. When we use our calculator and we do the work, we find out that the mixed number is 2 and 16/99. There's our mixed number. In order to write it as a fraction, we want to convert this mixed number into an improper fraction. Let's review how to do that again. 19 times 2 plus 16. When we do that, we end up with a numerator of 214 over the denominator of 99. Question 18. Which decimal is equivalent to 188/11? Now we are turning a fraction into a decimal. Fraction to decimal, divide your numerator by your denominator. 188 divided by 11 will give us the repeated decimal of A, 17.09 repeated. For question 19, we want to change the fraction into a decimal, or if you want to divide, or you can turn your decimal into a fraction using the second PRB key. I'm going to use the fraction into a decimal, and I'm just going to divide. 58 divided by 165 is going to match our top right to the fourth one down. 79 divided by 225 is going to match to 0.35 with a repeated 1. 13 over 37 is equivalent to 351 repeated. 8 over 45 is equivalent to 0.1 with a repeated 7. And finally, 17 over 99 is equivalent to 0.17 repeated. If you are unable to use a scientific calculator, there is a way to change your repeated decimals into fractions, but it does involve an equation. I will upload a video on this shortly for those of you who are curious about how to do this. Have a great afternoon.